Every night, millions of people in the Wei River Valley sleep inside the earth. Their homes, called yaodongs, are carved directly into yellow cliff faces. Warm in winter, cool in summer. A brilliant adaptation to a harsh climate. The cliffs are made of loess, fine dust compressed by wind over millions of years. It holds its shape well enough to carve rooms into, but loess is riddled with air pockets. The vaulted ceilings bear enormous vertical loads, the weight of the cliff above, but they are defenseless against horizontal vibration. Under violent shaking, the solid becomes fluid. The ceiling becomes the floor. Among those sleeping inside the earth on this January night, a young scholar named Qin Keda in Hua County, 60 miles east of Xi'an, at the epicenter of what is about to happen. He does not know he is inside a trap. Tectonic pressure that had been building for centuries releases at once. Magnitude? Around 8.0, though estimates vary. Qin Keda is torn from sleep by a sound he later describes as the gallop of 10,000 horses. Kitchenwares crash. Roof tiles cascade down. The floor drops from under him. In his terror, half awake, he first thinks it might be thieves or spirits. Then, the wall beside his head collapses, and the realization arrives. He grabs his clothes. The ground heaves beneath him. He later wrote that he could barely find his footing, staggering, he said, as though drunk. He escapes through a gap torn in a side wall. His family is already outside. Across the Wei River Valley, across a zone of destruction 500 miles wide, most families do not get this chance. The cliffs fold inward. The yaodongs collapse. In Hua County alone, later records suggest 6 out of every 10 people are gone. The shaking is felt as far away as Beijing. And here is the detail that separates this earthquake from every other. The people who wake up inside collapsing caves face a choice that lasts about 3 seconds. Every instinct screams, "Get out." That instinct is the killer. The yaodongs are carved into cliff faces. The main entrances face outward, toward the massive outer walls of loess. And those outer walls fail first. They peel away and collapse outward, burying the exits under tons of falling earth. In many collapses, trying to run is deadlier than staying low and covered. The people found dead at the cave entrances ran directly into the failure zone. The survivors, pulled from the interior rubble, broken, coated in gray dust, had been pinned in random pockets of air between fallen slabs. Qin Keda survives not because he runs for the main door. He escapes through a breach torn in a side wall, away from the collapsing cliff face. Blind luck in the geometry of destruction. He sees the pattern. He sees who is dead and where. We will come back to what he writes. But first, the people who claw out of their own graves discover that the earthquake is only the beginning. Dawn. Survivors stand in the snow. In many families, 1 in 3 is gone. Every store of grain is buried. The water sources are fouled. There is nothing to eat. The temperature is below freezing. Their survival now depends on the state. Far away in Beijing, Emperor Jia has not held a court audience in 14 years. Since a group of palace women tried to strangle him in 1542, he has retreated into a private compound, consumed by Taoist rituals, alchemical elixirs, and the pursuit of immortality. Government runs through written notes passed to ministers, most of them focused on Mongol cavalry raids hammering the northern border. The earthquake reaches Beijing as a report. Under Confucian political philosophy, a disaster of this magnitude is not merely a natural event. It is a sign that heaven has withdrawn its mandate from the ruler. The bureaucracy's first response is not rescue, it is interpretation. What does this omen mean? What ritual answer is required? While the court reads omens, time bleeds out in Shaanxi. Weeks passed. The court debated omens. Actual relief was slow to organize and badly inadequate when it arrived. Beyond a few documented local efforts, one magistrate mobilizing men to rebuild walls from rubble, the central response fell far short. The treasury was strained. Military resources were committed to the northern frontier. Paper edicts do not warm anyone. They do not feed anyone. And without their cave dwellings, the survivors face the winter exposed. Aftershocks, several times a month for half a year, collapse whatever shelters they build. Across the valley, wells and streams are fouled. The people have no alternative. They drink. After exposure and unsafe water comes the inevitable: epidemic. Historical chronicles from this period give a single phrase: those who perished from cold, starvation, and disease in the following months. Beyond counting. The 830,000 figure that survives to this day is not a body count from the earthquake. It is the total population loss recorded in the imperial census across the affected region. Direct deaths, famine, plague, and hundreds of thousands who simply walked away and never came back. The Earth killed 100,000 in a minute. The system failure killed the rest over the course of a year. While the province collapses around him, Qin Keda does something unusual. He documents. He walks through the ruins of Hua County. Houses beyond counting, demolished. People wandering like bees that have lost their hive, his words. Rivers that have changed course. Hills risen where valleys stood. But his most important observation is the one about the doorways. He has watched who survived and who did not. He has seen the bodies at the cave entrances, and he has seen the survivors pulled from inside. From this, he writes a single instruction. At the onset of an earthquake, do not go outside. Crouch down and wait. Even if the nest collapses, some of the eggs may survive. Nearly 500 years later, the modern earthquake safety protocol used worldwide, drop, cover, and hold on, says the same thing. Do not run. Get low. Protect your head. Wait. One of the earliest clearly recorded earthquake survival insights came from a 16th century Chinese scholar, standing in the ruins of his province, reading the dead. More than 40 of the Kaicheng stone classics, ancient texts carved into stone and housed in Xi'an since the 9th century, were cracked in half that night. The small wild goose pagoda, standing since the year 709, lost 2 or 3 of its upper stories. It still stands today, shorter, and on the Loess Plateau, millions of people still live in yaodongs. The caves are better reinforced now. Some have concrete arches, but the geology has not changed. The Loess is still porous. The faults are still active. The cliffs still face inward. The nest collapsed. A few eggs remained.